Welcome to today's video, which is a simple literacy activity that I found on social media, but I can't remember where I found it. It's simply called Reading is Awful When and Reading is Awesome When. And I did them on separate days, and I wrote Reading is Awful When, ellipse, and then I passed out Post-its. And you know how I love to use Post-its. I'm always surprised by the amount of quality information I can glean from students. I did it simply as an activity. I just wanted to know what they were thinking. I wasn't even thinking of it as a formative assessment, but boy, it sure was. I'm not going to read them all, but I'm surely going to read some for you. Reading is awful when it is loud. When people come and talk to you when you are reading, when there's a bad ending. And I thought, what a beautiful opportunity for me to help this student think of alternate endings when she comes upon a book like that. When your book is sad, a lot of good books are sad though. When you finish a book you really like. I love that. I feel the same way, London. When I finish a book that I love, I'm so sad. Reading is awful when people brag. Now, I need to dig into that because I don't know what he means by that. When it's loud in the classroom. When there are time limits and spoilers. When there is a sad ending. Now, that was Mofe, and he asked me if he could read a book just this week, and I had just read his Post-it that said he doesn't like sad endings, and I said, Mofe, it's called My Brother. It's an incredible book. And I said, Mofe, I just read your Post-it and I know how you feel about sad endings. And he just kind of stood there not knowing what to say. And so I called over his friend Zion and I said, Zion, now you just finished this book and Mofe doesn't like sad endings. Would you recommend it to Mofe still? And he heartily is not, yes, you need to read this book. So that's what Mofe's reading. When you end at a good part, it's awful to this student. When you have spoilers, reading is awful when everyone is talking. I can't tell you how many times those themes kept showing up in the Post-its. When it's loud, when people are talking, and when there are spoilers, and when there are time limits. Students evidently want lots of uninterrupted time. They want it quiet, so I feel very pleased that I am always so strict about noise during deer time. I mean, it's not a time for sharing, and I tell them that. And if two students really need to share with each other, I send them outside so that they can have a conversation and not interrupt the rest of us because we need it quiet. Reading is awesome when someone is not blurting out what page they're on. When you enjoy the book. One of my students from last year, Zoe, saw what was happening on the board and she came and added her Post-it to it. Reading is awesome when you're having fun. When you have time for reading. When you feel good and are in a quiet place enjoying the book. When you end in a cliffhanger. I always end read aloud on a cliffhanger. I don't know how, it just works out. I always am able to do that. When you see what's happening in your head. That's exactly right, Sarah. That's what good readers do. They picture it. Joseph says when you lay on a pillow. When you imagine it in your head, it gives you an eager feeling to keep reading. When you're reading something that is funny. Reading is awesome when it's quiet. When I have someone to share funny parts with. That's what Ellie said. Reading is awesome when you share a book. I even try to have double copies of books that I know would be good for sharing so students can pair up and read together. Oh, listen to what Elijah said. When you have unlimited time. When there is no time limit and you read a lot. Those themes just kept coming through. They want unlimited time. They want quiet. You know, I've shared this before. When we come back from vacations, we have all day deer. Thanksgiving, Christmas, and spring. There is no more valuable use of time in school than students doing silent reading, independent reading, dear. And they already can't wait for that day to come. And I'm going to make sure, because of Joseph's, pillow notion, I'm going to make sure that Joseph, he gave me an idea. I'm going to ask the students if they want to bring pillows on that day, on those days, those all-day dear days. They can bring, I think I'll even let them bring stuffies and pillows. I only have 2 pillows in my room. That's not enough. But what valuable information I gleaned from this just fun activity of reading is awful when and reading is awesome when. I'll see you next time.